Hello, and welcome back to the UAS Magazine podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Piekarski, and we are joined by two guests from AUVSI today, Chelsie Jeppson, Director of Communications at AUVSI, and Keely Griffith, Vice President of Strategic Programs at AUVSI. Welcome to the podcast, ladies.
Thank you for having us on, Danielle.
Yep, we're so glad to be here.
Yes, thank you for joining me today. So let's get started by having one of you or both share what XPONENTIal 2024 is to our listeners.
Great. So we are closing in on XPONENTIal 2024 in San Diego. XPONENTIal is the largest annual gathering for uncrewed systems, autonomy, and robotics, and the industries and communities in those spaces. It's the largest annual gathering with over 7,500 expected attendees from these technology areas, dozens of countries being represented, lots of end use cases in industries and sectors as well. XPONENTIal is intended to provide opportunities for our community to explore the cutting edge advancements in autonomy, to network with other industry leaders, and to identify business opportunities. XPONENTIal is co-hosted by AUVSI, our organization. AUVSI is the world's largest trade association, not-for-profit, representing uncrewed systems and robotics, and Messe Düsseldorf, North America, which is one of the world's largest organizers of industry trade shows. This year in San Diego, we are tracking for a busy and dynamic event. We're expecting a lot of attendees, speakers, and exhibitors to come together from a wide variety of locations, market segments, and technology domains. XPONENTIal, I like to think of as being two sides of one coin that work together to convene our community. One side is in the exhibit hall and tech demos area, and then the other side is in the educational programming that Keely's team puts together.
Thank you, Chelsie. So, as you mentioned, part of the show focuses on education. Can you walk us through the program for the event? What's the format? And what are some of the key topics that will be covered this year at XPONENTIal?
It's a great question, Danielle. The conference as a whole is really meant to be, we're using the term North Star this year for the community to better understand what's current now, how do you navigate the trends, but also keep an eye on what's ahead on the horizon. So what's going to direct the next steps for, who knows, the next 3 to 5 years. So we pride ourselves on bringing those that are the current experts as well as those that are really the thought leaders and visionaries for the future. So this year, and we think about all of the different types of content that you can experience at XPONENTIal, for everything from the keynotes, which are really meant to provide that high-level thought leadership, looking ahead, and a lot of the energy that surrounds the event, into breakout sessions, and we have many tracks that I'll get into, and then even expo hall floor education on some of those theaters. So I like to start with keynotes because that's how we start our morning on site. We really work to blend speakers that come from the commercial, defense, and even some external experts, to bring together and paint a really good picture for the community to understand, the current pulse and things that they should be working towards. This year, right now we have the director of the Defense Innovation Unit, Doug Beck, confirmed to speak on the first day of the event. We have an FAA regulatory panel that will really look ahead to, hey, how do we get to go with respect to UAS operations? We have a foreign policy expert and author, Hal Brands, joining us from Johns Hopkins University, a renowned roboticist, Dr. Christensen, that'll focus more on the latest and greatest of AI and investments. And then something new and a special treat this year, we're going to be including Harry Yeff, who is an AI artist that'll be speaking more to storytelling and undoing a narrative of fear around these technologies, which is really important in that commercial sector. We've also lined up a few bigger announcements for the keynote stage with different industry partners. So looking forward to celebrating those with our community. Beyond the keynotes, you move into kind of the afternoon, and we have a number of sessions and breakout topics. There are actually 7 total tracks that you can participate in. Some of the staples for our community include the technology and development track, which are heavy engineering, research and development, sort of technical paper heavy. Then we have infrastructure and operations, policy and regulations, which is very important with where we are as a community. The business case. So if I am end user, how do I make the case to implement and integrate these technologies into my own operations? implementation being used across vertical markets? What can I learn from other experts in other fields that are now implementing and integrating these in? And then 2 new tracks this year, and we're excited about them. One is cybersecurity. This is more technical in nature, so really meant for the cybersecurity experts at your organizations. And then data analysis with an autonomy flair. So how are you using data with respect to machine learning and developing these autonomous systems? We also have a trending topics room that we kind of kept quiet for a little while, but this is really meant to capture the most current content. So anything that has come through in the last, I will say 30 days of like, oh, we have to highlight this. So really there's something for everyone.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you've put together a great program so far. I remember Chelsie saying that there's also a handful of co-located events at Exponential. What type of content will be at these co-located events?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. So one of the co-located events that we've integrated in the last several years is actually our drone responders partners, and they put on an entire public safety track. I'm covering everything from use cases and implementation and program build out to security topics. And that room is typically packed out with public safety officials. And so we're happy to be partnering with them again here in San Diego. We also have the Law Tech Connect co-located event, which has been hosted for the last 2 years. And this event is it's a good opportunity to kind of dive deep into the legal issues facing our community, put on by Don Soldai at P3 Tech. And they are offering CLE credits that are recognized by the California Bar. We also have a staple, the UAS Weather Forum, and then there are several educator and STEM programs that our partners at NCAT, the National Center for Autonomous Technologies organization, that will be putting on for educators. And they're offering stipends for educators to help cover their participation at the event. So travel, registration, etc.
Great. Okay. And I understand that there is some defense programming. Could you tell us about the Defense Technology Zone in the exhibit space of the event?
Definitely. I'm really glad that you brought that up, Danielle. So we have so much going on in the defense space right now with uncrewed systems that we're hearing about from the AUVSI community, everything from global events. DoD's recently announced Replicator initiative, questions about DoD's upcoming budget and funding cycle, PPBE reform. With everything going on, we want to make sure that we featured solutions and the maturation of commercial technologies that can serve this area. So at Exponential, we will be hosting the Defense Technology Zone. It's over 10,000 square feet of exhibit space and is intended to showcase leading defense and security companies to highlight the latest innovations and products and solutions that are available in defense. It's everything from uncrewed aerial vehicles to sensor technologies and cybersecurity solutions. Also piggybacking off of what Keely was talking about before, we're going to see cybersecurity at a few different areas of the show this year. We know that upcoming DoD investment in the uncrewed systems space is going to boost our domestic industrial base, which we believe will spur job creation and advanced R&D in uncrewed systems. So we're really excited about this year. It's also our first year hosting Exponential since AUVSI launched our Defense Advocacy Committee in September of last year. And we now have over 100 companies in the uncrewed systems defense industrial base participating on that committee. So in addition to the space set aside on the show floor, we are also expecting a high level of attendance from companies in this space.
Yeah, that sounds like it'll be really interesting for attendees to come check out. Do you have any examples of some of the demonstrations that will be done in defense use cases?
Sure. So outdoors at Exponential 2024, something that's really special is that this year's show is bringing us back to a seaside location. So the San Diego Convention Center is right there at the shore. So we are going to be able to have maritime demos for the first time in several years at Exponential. So we're going to feature what we're calling Pacific Pivot. It's a series of outdoor demonstrations that show how mature commercial technologies can meet defense agencies' needs. They're going to be a series of problem sets that bring together systems across multiple domains, including aerial, maritime, surface, maritime subsurface, and ground-based systems. We've invited several attendees from DoD and other relevant defense and security agencies so that they can see firsthand how the technologies at Exponential are ready to provide critical capabilities to the warfighter and hopefully help those attendees make some decisions about platforms they want to learn some more about going forward.
Sounds really, really interesting. So you touched on a few things that you want people in the defense space to take away. What are some of the other experiences or key takeaways that you would like Exponential attendees to come away with?
Oh, I'll jump in on this one. We say we have not just a little bit for everyone. I think we have enough to go really deep for several different stakeholders. And so when I think about the experience, either from the full conference or the demos and ways to engage on the floor through networking, et cetera, it's really about make a plan to get the most out of the event, which means that you need to map out your schedule. So a couple of highlights from the Expo Hall floor that I believe are noteworthy. We have something this year called the Cyber City, which is really meant as an activation zone. It's on the Expo Hall floor, and from this space, attendees can actually engage in some micro learning around drone hacking and cybersecurity principles. There's also free on-site pen testing, which is powered by our partners at Darkwolf Solutions. So that's something you do have to sign up ahead of time for that, but they're going to give you 2 free hours of pen testing. And then from an international standpoint, again, we have record attendance expected for our international attendees. And so there are several different pavilions and opportunities to engage with those stakeholders that you might not run into in another domestic event. So I think making the most of those is a great idea.
Of course. And where can listeners find full agenda, registration prices, anything like that?
Online, exponential.org. And we encourage you to visit. It's really easy to go through the registration process. You can look up hotels through our hotel block and just finding a full schedule so that you can make the most of the event.
In addition to the website, we also have an Exponential app where you can schedule what sessions you want to go to and booths that you want to hit up and view the map of the show floor all in one place. So I definitely encourage folks to download that and get their schedule ready to go.
Thank you both. Again, today we are joined by Chelsie Jeppson, Director of Communications at AUVSI, and Keely Griffith, Vice President of Strategic Programs at AUVSI. Ladies, is there anything else that you would like to add before we close things out today?
I will just say that we are tracking for a really exciting, busy, and dynamic event in San Diego. I think the weather is going to be fantastic. The food is going to be even better. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody there.
And then I'll just add a big thank you to our steering committee for the conference. We work on this on an 18-month cycle. So these individuals from technology, policy, end user perspectives, multi-domain, and coming from some of the leading organizations across the industry, they lend a lot of time and expertise in building this program out. So if any of them are listening, big heartfelt thank you.
Great. Well, thank you again, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in today. Make sure to subscribe to UAS Magazine for more podcasts like this and to stay up to date on the latest industry news. We hope that you enjoyed this podcast, and we look forward to next time. Until then.